Hello and welcome to the channel. In today's beginners tips, I teach you the basics of using GPS with Proseed. I currently have a multiplayer server with some real good friends, and we really like using realistic mods and using realism. We encourage people to join us. There is a Discord link down below in the description, and all the details of how to join are in there, in the Discord. We've had a couple of guests come on now and help us out, and I'd say 1 in 3 people have not used GPS or Proseed, so I thought I'd put a little video together, just literally go over the basics, because the best thing for you to do, once you've got the grips of the beginnings of it all, just go and play in fields and see how you get on, experiment with tramlines and experiment with different sized drills. It's a game, you can't mess anything up, you just reset everything. So the Proseed menu then, which you need to click your middle mouse button, and that gives you the sort of control over the screen with your cursor. To start with, I've drilled my headland just for neatness, and I can see my ins and outs a lot easier. This basics tutorial is 24 metre tram lines, so a 4 metre drill works really well for 24 metre tram lines. So this is your Proseed controls. You've got manual, semi and auto. When you have it in auto, you have it on with the GPS and it will count the runs for you. But for drilling headlands, leave it in manual and make sure it's not on track 4. Track 4 is your tram line setting. So anything 1, 2, 3, and then I'll whack it in manual. And I've done 3 loops around the headland. I'm on 6 sashes, but this field doesn't seem to have the multi-direction sort of physics, so it only goes one way, which is a bit of annoying. So obviously 3 times around with a 4 metre drill is 12 metres. I've just brought the sprayer out just so you can see. 24 metre sprayer, middle of the sprayer out is 12 metres. So it sort of gives you an idea how the 24 metre setup essentially will look. So on the Proseed menu here you have 6 runs, on the 4th is your tram line. So 1, 2, 3, tram line, 1, 2, 3, and that is your 24 metres. And then the middle will sort of be split across the 12 metres out. So I'd say the only difficult bit in the beginning is where to put your first tram line. Now I'm going to work the field short ways just so you can see more tram lines, which is the wrong way really, but down here is a little bit better. So I've done 3 runs, which is 12, so essentially there's going to be a tram line here, which is your headland tram line. Now I don't usually do headland tram lines with the drill because it kind of messes up your ins and outs with the sprayer or the fert spreader, so you'll get your nicer loops and nicer ins and outs if you don't drill a headland tram line. Plus it's a little overcomplicated for what you want to do. First things first, we'll go through the GPS setup. Let's activate your GPS, so this little logo comes up here, and then the GPS menu, usually Control S. Next step is then literally auto width, 4.2 meters. Now I usually bring that down a little bit to 4 meters, so it's 4 meters directly, just so it's a bit easier to sort of, 4 meters bang on is easier to work out for your tram lines, and then you won't get no boom overlap. We'll turn lines on. Not worried about that. That is generally the basics of setting up the initial width of your implement. Make sure there's no offsets sort of turned on. Down there 0. Bang on 4 meters, and then all that page is essentially done. Click to the next page and you want to set your AB line. So AB straight, line method AB. Don't worry about this too much. Once you start getting into the hang of GPS, you can actually save tracks, and then you can go back to the field later on and you can reload it. But for beginning and basics, literally stick to this left side, set your A line. When you escape out, you'll see A floating there. Once you've set your A, drive a nice line what you think, and then you set your B. If you go back out of that, you'll see your AB line there. So, another sort of a visual representation here. As I've already drilled the headland, we can sort of work out with the sprayer. Eventually you'll be able to count and sort of almost do it by eye where your first tram line wants to be. I know this is a sort of headland run, but it makes it a lot easier to work out where you want your first tram line. Go over a little bit more. Almost on the very last edge run there. So have a look, where does the boom look like? So that's not too bad. Sort of bang on, line the edge of the field. And it's sort of on the last run. So you could then into your tractor, line yourself up with where you want the tram line to go. And then nudge your GPS over. Now I'm using Alt and Page up. That is the generic keys for nudge left and nudge right. So I'm nudging my tram lines almost bang in line with the sprayer there. And the next step is setting your tram lines up. So then the tracks count each time you lift up and down. So now next time I go up, it should go to a tram line, and that's in semi. So to set it up then, I've just put it in semi, lined up the sprayer, lined up with what I thought would be my first tram line, and then sort of set the first tram line here. So once all the GPS is set up, all your tram line is set up, semi, number 4, because that's your boom width there, you are good to go. So now, drop the drill. You see that it's counted to 5, back to 4 there. Just make sure whenever you're tram lining on 24 metres it's 4. And I'll start my first run. And you can see there my 2 sort of missed drills. So that's your first tram line. So we'll crack on round, finish this run. Then when we lift up and spin back round again, I'll just sort of see that drill there. I was measuring earlier, making sure I was correct. Back onto that GPS, and now when we drop, that'll go to 5. We do a couple more runs. And then we drop, that'll go to 6. GPS off, lift up. And then back to 1 again. And now we're coming back to number 4, which is tram line, like so. So you see the mist drills there, just like that. If we tab back to the sprayer now then, and unfold Mr. Sprayer, and we align ourselves up with this tram line. So 24 metre tram lines, 24 metre sprayer, 12 metres out, brings you to this point here. And then another 12 metres brings you back to the tram line again. Remember this tyre mark here? That's kind of the other 12 metre part of the tram line. And we'll plonk ourselves back on this tram line. You can see that my right hand boom there is meeting where the other boom was for your other tramline. And I'm meeting the edge of the field there, and that is the basic gist of 24-metre tramlines. And the reason why I don't drill headland tramlines is because when you're coming along in the sprayer or fert spinner, if you had a headland tramline, it would be almost a 90-degree turn here. So you have smoother ins and outs. You can check and keep an eye on your boom, so that was a bit late, and then turn into your other tramline. Obviously my tractor's in the way, but you get the idea. You're turning earlier in the field, so you don't swipe anything on the outside. But if you're worried about spray misses and fert misses, there's usually an outside loop tramline anyway, which will cover sort of all your misses. But it's just a bit neater to do your ins and outs by eye anyway. So that is the basics of using GPS with Proseed. If you notice, so I keep it in semi, I can keep an eye on the tracks and all that sort of thing. But as you use it more and explore it more, using the auto function, you can literally just plop in the field to whoever you want to do it. If you leave it in auto will count the runs. So in theory, if I'm turning right here, it knows where it wants to put the tramlines. You can see them counting there on the right. But for this field, I wanted to do it the way I wanted to do it. So I started off with my tramline, which means I had to adjust it where the preset tramlines wanted to be, sort of. But you could literally load up GPS, load up the field, stick it in auto, straight into a run, and the tramlines would sort themselves. Easy as that. Hope this video helps. As always, any questions, drop them in the comments. If I've missed anything, please tell me. But that is generally how I use Proseed at the minute. 24-metre tramlines, sort of work out where I want my first tramline, do my headlands first, my ins and outs, and my headlands are put in by a sprayer. If you want to join this multiplayer server, as I said before, link in the description for the Discord. Jump in. I've just noticed something. That's a really cool fan. Really good mod. Jump in, say hello, and we can get you in and play with us. Until next time, bye for now.